All right, good morning. I apologize for the late start. Internet was down at my house this morning. We're back online now. So go ahead and record this video and I'll get it posted up. If you have any questions, please email me directly. We only have a few days left in the course. So, the last day is on Tuesday. Keep in mind, I cannot accept any work after Tuesday night, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I cannot accept the final project late. And also, if you want to turn in any previous assignments that have been regraded, I also cannot take them after that deadline. So please get everything submitted by then. All right. So for this final week, there was actually no new material being introduced for the course. There's no new material to go over. The only thing you had to do was your final project, final assignment. So what we'll do, we'll show like a few examples that will probably, we'll look at bits and pieces of the final project and do some example bits and pieces from it. But then, of course, it'll be your responsibility to convert that over to what your project is asking you to do, and also kind of piece it all together, because I'm only really going to do bits and pieces of it all together. Okay, so first, here's what you have to do for your project. You have to make a list of names. You use a for loop to iterate over that list of names, and you're going to ask them what their height is and what their weight is. Then with that information, you're going to use a function to determine if they are underweight, overweight, or normal weight. And then you will have to have then you'll have to count up how many are overweight, underweight, and normal weight. And then that's what you display as the final thing. So first, let's look at how we have a list of names and how we iterate over the list of names, asking for some information. So we can look at, let's say names is equal to, let's have a list of names. We'll put my name, Dan, just a few names. All right, that's a list of names. Let's use a for loop to iterate over the list of names for name and names. And then let's get some input from them. We'll just call it A is equal to the input. And what we want the prompt to be, please enter some information. Okay. All right. And then at the end, and then after that, we'll do a quick print to see what they print. So let's save it and let's run that. Python 3 file. There we go. Well, A is not defined. On line 3. I know A is not defined. What did I do? Oh, yeah. So that's name. So I want to print out their name. That's what was wrong. All right, there we go. Oh, yeah. So did that wrong, can't have a comment. It's a plus because we're adding strings together. So of course, it will work this time. So that's the list of names. Now we're going to loop over everything in the list of names. Each time through the loop, name will be one of these individual names. So I'm going to get some input, and the prompt is going to be, please enter some information, name. Let's put it right here instead. Just changing the place where I want to. There we go. That's what I want my prompt to be. So it includes their name in it. And then after that, I'm just going to print out what they typed in for the input. Should work this time. Yeah, it works this time. So there you go. It says, please enter some information, Dan. And that's my information. And then it prints it out. That's what I typed in for this one and for the last one. There we go. Okay. So maybe I want to ask them for their age. Let's just change the variable name to age. And the age is going to be an integer. And then we'll just print print you are age years old, right? So we'll get some input. That's a number instead. Please enter some information, Dan. What we know, I want to input the age. There you go. It says they're all that many years age. But now let's imagine we want to say how old they are, right? So we'll make another list called ages. It's just a blank list. And so every time they put in an age, I want to append to it. Right? And then after the loop, let's just print out the names and print out the ages. Okay? So what's going to happen here? We just added on a list called ages. Each time they type in what their age is, we're going to append that to the ages list. And at the end, we'll just print out the names and ages. Okay? So let's run it. 3, 4, 4, 55, and there you go. There's the names and there's the ages. And you can see they kind of still line up. I put in 33 for Dan, and there's Dan 33. Sophia 44, Vicky 55. Okay? So now let's compute, are they young or old? We want a function that says if they're young or if they're old. Okay, let's make a function called define, let's call it old or young. Okay, and what do we need to give to it as a parameter? What piece of information do you need to know to determine if someone's old or young? You need their age. So put age as a parameter. And now we have to figure out, based on that age, is someone old or young? Don't get offended if I classify you as old or young here. But for example, I'm just going to say if the age is less than, say, 40, then you're young. Else, you're old. And of course, you could have more categories in there. You could have like child, baby, middle age. You can have multiple categories. For example, we could start off by saying if age is less than 18. Well, let's just add that one in there. And we're going to return for a child. Return. So what's happening here? So we made a function, old or young. It's actually old, young, or child, right? And the name of it's not important. I can make the name of my function that, and it doesn't matter as long as I use that same name when I call it. But I'm using a name that kind of describes what it's doing. It's going to tell me if you're old, young, or a child. And that's what's happening. I give the age as a parameter. If that age is less than 18, I'm going to return child. If the age is less than 40, I'm going to return young. And if it's not one of those, oops, let me put LS, there we go. And if it's not either one of those, it's going to say you're old. So, 40 or above, okay? Don't get offended. All right, so now, not just their ages, well, actually, yeah, their ages, there we go. So now, let's make another loop that figures out how many old, young, or child there are, all right? So, number old starts out with 0, young starts out with 0, and child, num child is equal to 0, right? So let's loop over all of our ages. This loop works just like this names one. This names loop looped over everything in the names list and then used a name one at a time. Same way, this is going to loop over my ages list. Remember, it starts out blank, but I add to it with each age. And so now we need to figure out, are they old, young, or child? So what we can do is we say get the answer is equal to old, young, or child with that age. So right now, let's just print out what the answer is. We'll count them up in a second. All right, let's run this. So with those, let's put 11, 33, 66. So as you see, it's child, young, and old. And does that make sense? That's a child age based on what we're doing right here. So that's right. That's in the young age and that's in the old age. And that's right. So what we can do here, we can say if the answer is child, oops, if the answer is child, then what, num child plus equals 1. If answer is equal to what, young, then the num young plus equals 1. And then if the answer is equal to old, the num old plus equals 1. And then at the end, we can print child the num childs, the num young, the num old. Okay. All right, so let's run it, see if we get the right answer. So use 11, 33, 66 again. Sure enough, we get one child, one young, and one old, and that's right for those names. Let's add a couple more names to make sure it's adding it up right. Steve, and one more. Ricky, Ricky and Vicky. All right, let's save it. Let's run it. So let's go with 11, 22, 33, 44, 55. There we go. And so is this adding them up right? This is where you would use your test cases actually. So child is under 18. Out of all these ages, there's only one under 18, and it gives us one child. That's right. And so young should be 18 up to 40. So these are those two ages that are young, and that's right. And then anything over 40 is old, and you got two of them, and that's right. And that is most all that you need for your final project. Now, for your final project, there are two functions you have to make. You have to make a function that it takes the height and weight as parameters and returns the BMI. Then you have to make a function that takes the BMI and tells you if and returns to you if they're underweight, overweight, or normal weight. And then you have to go through and count up how many is in each category, and then you have to print that category out. Not much different than what we've done here. Not much different than this code here. All right, and that pretty much wraps it up. I said this is the final week. This is the final project. You have until Tuesday night to get it turned in. It cannot be late. That's just the way it is. I cannot accept anything after the due date for this assignment. Okay, so if you have any questions at all, any questions with the final project, with any of the other assignments, or with anything in the class, please email me directly. Please email me directly. And I do go to bed at night, so if you email me at 10 p.m. on Tuesday night, you're probably not going to get an answer before the due date. So please email early and email often if you're having problems. All right. That's it. Bye.